Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Well Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
And welcome to the RiverCityGamers Podcast. I'm SCXCR.
I'm Blondeguygamer.
I'm Shadow Snake.
And I'm Zeromaster.
And can I just say that I'm getting really sick of the Japanese language?
No.
Depends. Is it really that exhausting to study?
Yes.
Okay.
You know how many thousands of hours it requires to become fluent in that?
Well, I'm sure it'll be very rewarding in the long run, right?
Hopefully.
I mean, hey, you could probably play the one Ace Attorney game that will never get localized. But then again, it's being fan translated. But moving on.
Well, you know what has been localized?
What?
Gaming news.
Gaming news! So real.
And we start with Grand Theft Auto Online.
I've heard some things, but go on.
Long story short, people are having trouble actually, doing the online part of Grand Theft Auto Online.
Gee, who was surprised that a game with millions of people trying to simultaneously play it online has some issues?
Then again, it was to be expected, really, because, you know, no matter how prepared they become, like when you're like Rockstar and you're selling a bunch of copies, so of course you're gonna have some online problems. So I'm not surprised in the slightest.
You'd think you'd prepare for that, though, especially since the online came out so long after the game actually released.
It's interesting because I know that Unreal's had constant problems trying to connect and even get updates for it. But he's not the only one. I know people in my town who have the game and almost none of them can connect. And
Video Games Awesome also tried doing a video on Grand Theft Auto Online, and it was just them sitting at the connection screen for a long time.
Oh, well, that's the thing, though. It's like literally almost everyone that bought GTA 5, and now everyone is trying to go online at once. I mean, even if Rockstar took a couple weeks to prepare, did add that feature afterwards, it still doesn't deter the fact that there are literally like millions of people trying to connect at once in this game. It's similar, but not exactly like, but it is kind of like Diablo 3 in that regard, in that, well, at least with that, it's like when it was launched, it like millions of people simultaneously tried to log on, and of course that game you had to be online, which not a lot of people liked to begin with. But with this, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of traffic.
You have to also realize that there are limits to what you can do with broadband connections. Like, I mean, the most common highest speed connection you can get on even in most cases on a business level is fiber. Now that's fast, but it also has bandwidth limitations. So they probably prepared for this. They probably have tons of servers, but they didn't anticipate the bandwidth of so many people connecting from all these different areas to their servers. Plus, since they're console games, they have to go through servers from PSN and Xbox Live first, then get to them. So if there's a connection problem anywhere in that line, then it doesn't matter how much server power you have, connections are nobody's going to be able to connect. So I think the big thing here that needs to be looked at is the connections, not the servers.
Right.
Something else I need to add about this is that it's not just people having problems connecting. Some people who have connected and made progress in it have reported losing their character progress, or some people losing their characters entirely.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I've heard that happen to people, including some of our friends.
And allegedly, Rockstar made a post on their site saying that this would be fixed by tomorrow. Tomorrow meaning Friday. We are recording this on a Sunday after the Friday, and people are still having problems.
It's not something so simple that can be fixed. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it could probably take like probably like a day or a week at most. I mean, depending on how bad the problem really is.
I mean, you guys remember the PSN issue, right?
Oh
Take
yeah.
down of that. Remember how long it took for that to come back?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, well,
this-
that was something that got like hacked though.
Yeah, that was like a hacking issue.
Yeah.
This isn't really technically a hacking issue. This is more like trying to keep the server stabilized or something like that, if that's the correct way of putting it.
no, but I mean, it's a similar situation. Like, people can't connect because of the connection issue going on. I'm like, again, it doesn't matter how much planning you do, you'll never be prepared for what happens in the end, especially if you're the #1 selling game of the year.
Yeah, you can't exactly prepare for like a nuclear bomb and expect like no damage, really.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning
I'm
on
not-
this being the discussion topic, so should we move on?
Yeah.
I mean, unless anyone has like something else real quick they want to say.
No, I got nothing. I mean, I haven't played much of the GTA games, so I don't know if I have anything to add.
Okay, well, let's move on to someone else who was doing fine and dandy. Capcom.
Oh, great. What do we have to hear about them now?
More people getting fired.
Right.
Probably not the people who should be fired. I don't really need to go over like all the shortcomings Capcom has had with some of their games, or that they've already had cutbacks and layoffs in the North American branch, but now they're firing people in Capcom Europe. Allegedly, about half or more than half of its European staff.
Can we just start with something I like to call the Capcom countdown, where I'm trying to like anticipate like how long they have until to exist.
People have been doing that for years now.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I don't want people to lose their jobs over this, because I've been laid off several times. But at the same time, I'm kind of hoping Capcom will fall, because I want their IPs to go to companies who might actually give a damn about them. Like, it's pretty ridiculous to hear me say that, because they've made some of my favorite games of all time. You know, most notably the Mega Man and Monster Hunter series, but there's so much more than that. But they don't even really make the games anymore. They outsource a lot, so it's like, it doesn't even matter if they go down.
The thing is, though, I think I'm kind of bit the same thing with Zero, because due to other mistakes, it's hard to feel bad for them now you think about it. But personally, I think there are companies out there that can treat their assets that Capcom owns with much better care. So ultimately, if Capcom falls under, let's just hope their licenses will be in better hands.
Now, there is one thing I want to say. I don't want them to fall until Monster Hunter 4 comes out here, because there's no guarantee that if somebody picks up the franchise that they'll localize the game. I'm sure they'll see that there's an audience for it and think of it, but there's no guarantee that they will. And Capcom so far has been looking at localizing Monster Hunter 4, so I'd like them at least be able to localize that before they go under.
Same here, and as far as I'm concerned, we are scheduled to get the latest Ace Attorney game, Ace Attorney 5 Dual Destinies, and they've announced that they will localize Professor Layton and the Phoenix Wright crossover, so let's just hope I can at least get those two games, and Monster Hunter 4, and I guess I wouldn't be asking for anything more from Capcom at this point.
They were reluctant to do that, though.
Yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they have like second thoughts of localizing that crossover. But let's just wait and see.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that Zero. You said you say that they're going down because they keep giving their franchises to other people. But if you think about it, they still make more of their own games than, say, Konami these days.
Oh god.
Right. Oh.
That's another discussion for another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For now, let's just move on to Sega. Specifically, Sega of America. Now, remember how I mentioned that Sega Sammy, which is like the big holding company that includes the Sega branch, how they purchased Atlus?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now Sega of America is firing people again.
Oh no.
Great.
They did some restructuring, they laid some people off, and this is going to, quote, help them focus efficiently on developing new and existing content across digital platforms, as well as continuing to focus on key brands for packaged goods. Well, at least now we know how they were able to afford buying Atlus.
Well, I don't know. Isn't that sort of what they kind of have to do if they're gonna buy a whole new like company or studio or whatever? You have to make adjustments for it.
Yeah. But at the same time, it makes me feel bad that people lose their jobs in this industry.
Well, it happens, just like any industry, really.
It's funny, I was just talking about this in the script for one of my upcoming reviews, but that's a review for...
That's for updates.
Okay. But let's just hope that for Atlus, the business will go as usual, like as they quoted in one article. So I don't think this... I just hope that this whole thing going around with Sega of America does not affect Atlus at all.
Well, you never know. Maybe some of those people that got laid off can work on the new Sonic cartoon.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, because those go well.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Sonic Underground was awesome.
No, it wasn't.
It sure
Underground
was.
It was stupid.
Stupidly awesome.
Well, what the
Let's
fuck
not-
ever. Sonic is coming back to TV in 2014.
Make
And,
of that what you will.
And apparently Knuckles is jacked.
Yeah, Knuckles is fucking roided up in this new one.
Well, the only thing we could do is just look forward to see how they actually look outside of the shadows.
Is this like a Japanese animated show, or
is it American animated?
I think it's being animated by Sega. I mean,
so the former?
it would probably be the development house, not the publisher.
Okay.
All I know is that it's going to air on Cartoon Network.
Yay, another show I won't be able to watch.
Awesome.
Also, like, this might end up being good because that new Pac-Man show that came out, it's not bad. And it's CG.
You know what? I forgot that existed until you just mentioned it.
I didn't even know about
I've heard nobody talking about that.
same here. It's like, wait, there is a new.
The only reason
There's,
I remembered it is because the Wii game's coming out soon, and I pre-ordered it, and I can't wait.
You're also the only person I've ever heard say that.
But I think the game looks awesome. It's the first time I've actually been excited for a Pac-Man game.
It's Pac-Man! You pre-ordered it?
Yep.
How about we move on to some paradoxical news? Because this news is that there isn't news.
Okay.
Specifically, there is no news on The Last Guardian.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that
didn't know
game that
that.
was supposed to come out for the PS2?
You mean the PS3? I don't think they did.
It, well, it's the next game that was supposed to be made after the people that made Ico and Shadow of the Colossus.
And we heard nothing about it. I'm like,
I actually have a direct quote from Shuei Yoshida. Shall I read this?
sure.
By the way, all the pauses are just ellipses in the quote, so... that I cannot talk about. So, we're waiting for the right time to reintroduce The Last Guardian in an appropriate way. I can't... Well... The game is in development, and it's well staffed, and Ueda-san is here working, even though he's not a Sony employee. He's dedicated to the product, but we're not ready to update yet.
Wait, wasn't this supposed to be a PS3 launch title?
I don't know about launch title.
I wouldn't.
I don't. part of me just wants you to just flat out give up and not give a shit about the last card at this point, because I waited for because we've been like waiting for God knows how long for this. It's like
Man, Shadow, you are so apathetic.
I know. Sometimes I can be so negative.
This is what the gaming industry does to people.
A pathetic snake, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Apathetic Gamers Podcast.
More people got fired this week. Hooray.
This is the most depressing podcast ever.
Well, how about some
Other
uplifting news?
Okay.
Oh.
It comes from China, of all places.
Oh boy.
Allegedly, China is going to end the 13-year ban on foreign video game consoles.
So
That's
So-
the news.
So, does that mean there's going to be more or less bootleg consoles?
I don't know, because there's already quite a few of those.
Reviewed by Ashes.
remember the V?
Remember the pop station?
I remember fucking Zeller selling the V for $60. I was like, are you kidding?
Well, and Zeller's is gone now, so
I almost bought one too, but it was like $60. Fuck that.
And I might as well mention this, just because we haven't talked about Steam for a while. But you've heard about Steam trying to, quote, take over the living room with their new platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, have you seen what the controller for this looks like?
No, I haven't.
I think I did.
I have. The
Yeah.
Steambox controller, right?
It's special looking. It's got like the tracking pads on it.
Oh yeah, I remember Angel telling me of like the appearance of it, and now that I look about it, it's like it seems like this could be, adaptable if you get the hang of it.
I think Rach from Review Tech USA said it best. This controller is gonna be great for playing first-person games, but it's gonna suck for playing anything that's side-scrolling or platform.
Yeah.
Because look at where the buttons are placed.
Yeesh.
Oh, not only that, there's a bunch of buttons on the back. Here, I'll post a second image.
Oh, I haven't actually seen the back of it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of touchpads and buttons on the back, too.
Oh, jeez.
Because someone at Steam was like, you have like most of your fingers on the back of the controller, but they're not doing anything.
Well, PS Vita kind of did that first.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this looks interesting.
But who gives a shit about the Vita?
I don't think I like the buttons on the back because you could accidentally quick save and you don't need to.
Well, if I were gonna get my hands on this, I would probably need some time to adjust to it, because this is gonna be like, a somewhat interesting way to play.
If you even get it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, but always been.
Apparently there are a few people who have tested the controller with a couple of different games, and apparently they like it.
I mean, when anything like this comes out, and you're so used to a certain controller layout, it's hard to say without actually holding it.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people who were like that for the Wii in particular.
And the Wii U.
I'm not going to write this off just yet. Then again, I'm probably not going to get whatever hardware this is associated with, so won't bother me.
Well, the controller, from what I understand, is going to be both for the Steam Box and the Steam OS. So if you already have a computer, you just want the controller, you can just get the controller. But most people who have a PC that's going to be running the OS will just use a freaking Xbox 360 controller.
Or a Logitech controller or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Which I already have one of those.
There's a new update to the new J-Stars game, which is going to be celebrate the 45th anniversary of Shonen Jump. It's going to be for PS3 and PS Vita, but they just added a bunch more characters. There's characters like obvious ones like Naruto, Ichigo from Bleach, Goku from Dragon Ball. They've added people like Gon from Hunter x Hunter and Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho. Just some random ones like I don't even know what the hell this guy is, and yet they still haven't added anybody from Katekyo Hitman Reborn. That series can never catch a break. And I'm done.
Actually, there are a couple updates I want to make. Since I mentioned last time a few Kickstarters.
Yeah.
The three that I mentioned were Mighty Number 9, Never Ending Nightmares, and River City Ransom Underground. And just to update you on that, Never Ending Nightmares, funded. Mighty Number 9, oh god, funded.
And all stretch goals met.
Yeah, hit all their stretch goals, raised over $4 million, suck at Capcom. Anyway.
Shantae got funded too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Shantae also funded, hit a few stretch goals in the process. And, apparently this just happened recently. River City Ransom Underground still has some time left on it, but it's funded as well.
cool.
Yep.
And all those I actually did pitch in for those, for at least copies of the games. So
I still
look
need to
forward to those.
I pitched in for Mighty Number 9 and Shantae. You still need to pitch in for the River City Underground.
I pitched in for all of those, including the large number I pitched in for Mighty Number 9.
Gee, what a surprise for someone like you, Zero.
Should I say how much I spent on the game here on the podcast?
No. Unless you really want to.
Well, how much do you think?
Oh, I know how much you pitched in, so I'm not going to say.
Let's see. What did the average Mega Man fan pitch in?
Can I just say $300?
Oh, you were close.
What?
190.
Well,
That's not that close. That's like not even 2/3.
That's like $100 off.
Yeah, like a third.
okay, can we just move on, please?
Upcoming games, let's do this.
Okay.
This is going to be out by the time the podcast gets posted, and I don't anticipate any one of us getting this. Just Dance 2014.
Pre-order.
I'm at EB Games in the Wii section. There's just like almost an entire row of like old Just Dance games. I mean, yeah, that series is definitely getting oversaturated more than like Madden at this point.
Well, there's actually a Just Dance Kids thing also coming out pretty soon.
Case in point.
But getting away from that, Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut.
Oh.
Yeah, that one edition of Deus Ex Human Revolution that was supposed to be a Wii exclusive, but then got ported to everything else.
Yeah. So much for exclusivity.
Well, whatever. At least
lot.
it's still there.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, developer.
Whatever. At least it's still there if you want to get Human Revolution on the Wii U or anything else, really.
I still think it's bullshit that they did that. They should have just put it on the Wii U. They should have bit their tongue.
I know they pulled the Rayman,
Legends.
Rayman Legends on us with that.
How about moving over to handhelds for Pokemon X and Y?
Pre-ordered.
Oh, that was quick. Oh, right, I forgot about this. Rocksmith 2014.
Oh, that game. That's the one where you play with an actual guitar, right?
How come I'm mentioning a bunch of Ubisoft titles?
Well, you mentioned Pokemon X and Y. That's not Ubisoft. And Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Yeah,
isn't
but with the way this is going, I'm going to start with Ubisoft and end with Ubisoft.
Oh no.
Well, Deus
And
Ex is
in
still
fact,
like iOS
Speaking
Montreal.
of Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed 4.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's the one with pirates, right?
That's kind of my reaction too.
I still need to play the first one, so I'm not even close to getting this.
Same here.
Me three.
Yeah, I haven't touched it. And something else I haven't touched is any of the Batman Arkham games. Which, the only reason I bring that up, Batman Arkham Origins.
I want to play it, but at the same time, I still find it odd how the multiplayer is not going to be in the Wii U version. It's like, if you're going to do that, don't charge $60 for the Wii U version then.
My reaction to that still is, there's multiplayer?
Yeah, that's a little
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
whatever. I still haven't finished Arkham Asylum.
yeah,
I
me
haven't
either.
gotten
I have the
City
Game of the
yet.
Year edition, and I haven't even started it yet.
I beat the first two Arkham games, so I'm pretty. I don't know. Something about me just. I want to play it, but I just don't know if I really want to pre-order it.
Well, speaking of
Yeah.
multiplayer, Battlefield 4. Moving on.
Exactly.
This kind of makes me shake my head. There's the Capcom Essentials collection coming out.
Oh yeah, that where it features games. What were the games again? I forget.
The games are Resident Evil 6, Super Street Fighter 4, Dead Rising 2, Devil May Cry 4, and Mega Man 10.
I'm glad they include Mega Man 10 and not Mega Man 9.
That's not too bad of a mix of games.
Yeah,
But
I guess.
I have to question, why Super Street Fighter 4? Why not Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition 2013?
I
Of all
don't think it
the
matters either way because Street Fighter 4 Ultra's coming out soon.
Yeah.
For fuck's sakes! What?
Is this your
You remember when Capcom said Super Street Fighter 4 is the last version? Remember that?
I
Yeah, why would
remember
you ever
that.
trust them?
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
trust
sure.
Capcom. Yeah, don't trust Capcom with fighting games. You pretty much. This is to be expected.
You gotta-
They do this shit all the time.
They can't get all their money from Monster Hunter. They gotta get their money from Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Street Fighter as well.
Shit, I forgot about this one. Beyond Two Souls.
I want to try that. I'll be honest with you.
I'll be honest, I still know nothing about the game except Ellen Page. Oh, right. Call of Duty Ghosts.
Considering
Yeah.
my brother just bought Black Ops 2, I don't see that game coming into my house for a long time.
Wait, he just bought it now?
Yeah, because he waits until the game's super cheap.
Oh.
Understandable.
See, he's a bro, but he's not a bro who buys Madden every year for $60.
He's a Salvation Army bro.
Yeah, he's a Salvation Army bro. He'll buy Madden for $5.
Oh, right, this might actually be a game I buy. Sonic Lost World.
Pre-ordered.
I should pre-order that.
It looks
Should I
pretty
pre-
fantastic, and I'm glad they're bringing back the powers from Colors, because, Colors is my favorite.
I still need to play that too. I actually have it now. It's been sitting on my desk and I haven't touched it.
I'll consider it maybe.
I don't know why, but I feel like reminding you guys that this exists. Angry Birds Star Wars.
Don't care.
I know. I just wanted to remind you just how far both of those franchises will go down the gutter.
Star Wars
Yeah,
has
just
already
a-
been in the gutter, brought back up, bought by Disney, and put back in. What do you expect?
Well, this is one I know Oni's going to get at least. Can you guess what it is?
Gee, does it have to do with something he talks about all the time?
Does it have to do with Destructy and Hulk Hogan?
WWE 2K14.
I knew it.
There has to be a move that includes Destructy.
Well, Warriors in it, so yeah, probably. I'm still not getting that game just because I'm still kind of pissed that The Rock is on the cover. Yes, The Rock is on the cover of the game, even though he hasn't been in the WWE for 7 months?
Wait, after taking the title from CM Punk, he just says, fuck this shit, I'm leaving?
Well, he dropped the title to John Cena at WrestleMania, and he showed up like once since then, and then never again.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's
I
wrestling
don't
for you.
Yeah, it's scripted bullshit sometimes.
Hey, what did I tell you? I told you this was going to start with Ubisoft, and it's going to end with Ubisoft, because Watch Dogs.
Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, I think you forgot one downloadable title for 3DS that's coming out this month. Can you guess what it is?
Something I won't buy?
Probably, since you don't have this. Ace Attorney Dual Destinies.
Isn't the new Pac-Man game coming out this month too? I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, so another thing I won't buy. Awesome.
Pre-ordered. But getting back to Watch Dogs, I love how nobody knows that it's coming out for the Wii U.
I think I'll get it on the Wii U just to see how it is.
Probably
It's
the
weird.
console I'm getting it for.
It's weird because nobody knows that it's coming out for that, and I'm like, guys, did anybody see E3?
I find that most people just assume that nothing comes out for any Nintendo system.
Yeah, it's been, people just assume that ever since the GameCube.
I actually tweeted a couple weeks ago, I love how no one is talking about Watch Dogs for the Wii U. And I got a couple responses. It's on the Wii U?
Yeah, even I saw it on Amazon. I was like, yeah, it's
I was
on
like,
Wii U.
And then I had to respond, did you watch E3?
Well, to be fair, did they even showcase it on the Wii U that much?
They showed it
I mean,
for 2
it was-
seconds.
It's a multi-platform game to begin with, so it's probably not going to get a whole lot for that version anyway, in terms of like how many people actually will buy that one.
Oh, actually, I lied. This isn't ending with Ubisoft. It's ending with Sony. Because I completely forgot, November 15th, PS4 comes out.
Doesn't the Xbox One come out before that though?
No, I think it comes out after that, like on the 22nd.
Oh,
One console I think no one in this podcast is going to get for a long time.
Well, I'm not getting either of these for a long time.
yeah, same here.
Same here.
Yeah, pretty
More
much
so
just
for
gonna stick to my
money
Wii U
than anything
and
else.
gaming PC for the first few years.
There's one good thing about this. Like, since I got the $30 from the Fire Emblem Awakening and Shin Megami Tensei 4 deal, I'm going to use the $30 to buy Ace Attorney 5 Dual Destinies.
Well, you know what,
Oh, yeah, I
Shell, since you're talking
forgot
about
that.
what games you
Yeah.
will buy, why don't you tell us what games you have bought?
Alright, let me just make this quick. For Wii U, Wonderful 101. For 3DS, Etrian Odyssey, Untold, The Millennium Girl. Tales of Exilia, Dragon's Crown, Dead or Alive 5. I'll save this physical game for last. For downloadable titles, I got the Tomb Raider collection and Hitman collection when they were on sale on Steam, and Dive Kick, which I also gave to a friend on his birthday. And this final game, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me, and I'm kind of embarrassed I somewhat bought it, but yet somehow I enjoy it. It's Project Eva F, aka Hatsune Miku game, the first game of Hatsune Miku to ever be localized. So yeah, that's all my games.
Blondie, can you top that?
I don't think I can top anime girls and music girls, but
You can't top bacon wrapped a hot dog?
what?
Sorry, there's a Toyota commercial with Hatsune Miku in it, and she's talking about bacon wrapped hot dogs.
The way she says it just makes me laugh.
Don't. Anyway, I have gotten a few games. For the PSP, I actually found Parappa the Rapper.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I got the PSP version of that. I also got Dead Space 3 for 360, as well as Resident Evil 6 on PS3.
Yay, we can play co-op.
Yeah, once I get around to actually playing the game.
Yeah, I just forgot, I still have that on rental from Gamefly. I haven't touched it since I got pissed off at that one part in Leon's campaign.
Well, since I have the game, we could do co-op if you want.
I don't want to do that to you.
Why? I won't mind. Just from what I've seen, I've played worse.
You played,
Also-
played Resident Evil 5 with
How would we communicate?
Yeah, it won't be as bad as me playing Resident Evil 5 with Zero here. Anyway, on the 3DS, I downloaded a few titles. I downloaded Shantae on the Virtual Console, the original Shantae that was on Game Boy Color, as well as Shantae's Risky's Revenge, which is the DSi downloadable sequel.
Oh yeah, I just forgot I got that on my iPhone for free because of the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, I got that on iOS myself, though.
Yeah,
It's hard to play without actual controls.
Yeah. Makes me wish I had the buttons.
anyway, yeah, I've pretty much gotten those two because of the Shantae Kickstarter. And I also got my Switch Force 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, and on the PlayStation 3, I just downloaded sorry, hang on.
I think your printer was really enthused by Shantae.
Well, she
I don't
does
like
wear
that.
very skimpy clothing.
Well, it's part of the belly
Sure.
dancer thing.
I know.
Shantae's printer's revenge. Anyway, as I was trying to say earlier before my printer decided to go berserk for no reason because it's a piece of shit now and doesn't even work properly anymore. I might just end up getting a new printer or printer scanner. On PS3, I downloaded a PlayStation Classic, and that's Klonoa, Door to Phantomville, I think it's called.
Oh yeah.
Or Phantom Mile. It's one of those two.
Didn't they remake that game on the Wii?
Yeah, but much like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, they redid the voice acting, the added voice acting that a lot of fans don't really like much. But whatever, it's a good platformer game, regardless. And I believe that is all I've gotten in the past couple weeks.
Alright, well, I'll go ahead and go next. And this is not going to take long at all because I've only got 2 games. Both of them on Steam. And first off, I got Binding of Isaac, finally.
Hey.
Second, I got the complete pack of Commander Keen. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a game from way back in the DOS days.
I know what Commander Keen is.
It was made by id Software, I believe, right?
Yes, it was.
Yep. So before Doom, you had a fun kiddie platformer.
You had incredibly pale white kid with a football helmet on his head running around shooting aliens.
Oh man, SCR, you should play those games in CGA mode and really bug out on nostalgia. Yay, 4 colors!
But that's it for me, so Zero, what you got?
Okay, well, a couple weekends ago, I went to go visit CJ, and he gave me a few games, so I'll start with those. First off, he gave me Super Mario All-Stars, because I didn't have a copy of it, so I have a copy of that. He also randomly, he wasn't sure if I had this or not, and I didn't, but he got me Super Robot Tyson OG Saga Endless Frontier, and I randomly, at an EB, got the first OG Saga game for $10. I don't know, they just had a copy of it, and it was only $10, so I said sweet. And then, now I have the sequel thanks to him, so now I have those 2 games. Those are the ones that actually came out here. So, yay, I have actual games, except this Super Robot Tyson game doesn't actually have much to do with super robots. It has more to do with characters that end up in Project Cross Zone. So, that's a thing. And a game he wants me to review in the future, Young Indiana Jones for the Sega Genesis. I haven't played it yet. I tried playing it on my Retron, but it said only officially licensed hardware is allowed to play this Sega game, which I thought was hilarious. But I know quite a bit about Young Indiana Jones, so I am interested to see how this turns out.
I only know about Young Indiana Jones because of the trailers they showed in the actual Indiana Jones movies. I never actually seen them.
I've never seen them myself either.
Okay, anyway, some games I bought when I was in Ottawa. I bought a Sega Club exclusive, Echo Jr.
Oh yeah, that.
And it made CJ cringe, so I thought, hey, $5, okay. I also picked up the first Time Crisis, so now I have 1, 2, and 3, which is 4 and 5. And I picked up, for $1, I picked up an Xbox game called New Legends. Don't know what this is about, but the THQ game. So yeah. And then recently I picked up off GOG. I picked up Fallout 1, 2, 1 and 2, yeah. And then I bought Earthworm Jim's 1, 2, and 3D off of GOG because they had them all on sale. So that's about it.
And because I can't think of much of a better way to phrase this, how much do publishers suck?
Well, it depends on what specific publishers you're talking about, because there's certain good ones and there's certain bad ones.
let's focus on the bad ones for now.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're just full of positivity in these podcasts.
Well, I'm the most apathetic person here at this point, as Zero pointed out.
Specifically, just to give a frame of reference for this, I'm going to go back to this story which I love, which is about the Witcher series of games. And in it, one of the people on the staff mentions through a series of Twitter posts what they were trying to do to get The Witcher published.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, The Witcher is based on a series of fantasy books by a Polish author who created the male character Geralt, what he is for The Witcher, how he looks. So that lore is kind of set in stone. When they go to all these different publishers to try and get the game published, they keep saying things like, it's too difficult, it's too hardcore, stuff like that. And then they hit one publisher who says they'll publish it if, based on their marketing analysis, they make a few changes, such as change the male to a female, forget about the Witcher thing and make her an elvish sorceress, and change the name and add multiplayer.
What?
Yeah, I remember.
At what point can a publisher be too hands-on when dealing with certain titles?
That type of logic in terms of like marketing just makes me want to punch someone in the face.
Remember Star
On the
Fox?
one hand,
Star
I
Fox
understand it,
Adventures?
because as a publisher, you're making a significant financial investment into this property, and you want to do what you think is going to get you the most return.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, at what point does your input become a detriment? At what point are you basically handcuffing the developers and saying my way or the highway?
It reminds me of what happened with Star Fox Adventures. It was originally supposed to be a different game called Dino Planet or something like that. But then
Dinosaur Planet.
Miyamoto was like, oh, you should make it a Star Fox game because the main character sort of looks like Fox McCloud. And nobody would argue with Miyamoto at that point, so they just did it. And that was the last game Rare made for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Well, on Nintendo consoles, not handhelds.
Yeah.
There was Diddy Kong on DS, if I recall.
There's a bunch of like DS and Game Boy Advance games they still did, but we're not here to talk about Rare.
Yeah.
That's how one decision can screw an entire idea. Not that Star Fox Adventures is a bad game. I assume it's at least a decent game, but
Yeah, and I think I assume it did okay sales wise. I mean, that's the thing when it comes to these publishers' decisions, like with Nintendo or Miyamoto making it a Star Fox game. Would it have sold more and got recognition as a Star Fox game, or would it just not gotten as much, just be yet another like obscure, well, no pun intended, obscure Rare game, much like in the vein of like their other original IPs that they did but just didn't sell all that well, like Jet Force Gemini? Like, would Dinosaur Planet just be another one of those if it wasn't for the fact that they changed it into like Star Fox, even though it was kind of like blending the two together into a kind of something that didn't work 100%.
Actually, I just pulled up some tentative sales data of Star Fox Adventures. It fell just short of 1 million units in North America.
Well, back then I guess it wouldn't be that bad, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So sales expectations back then just weren't as big as they are right now.
Well, obviously. That's another thing, sales expectations. Like Square Enix, I think is a big one with like.
Yeah, didn't they expect Tomb Raider to sell like so many copies? But even though it sold decently, but it just didn't meet the ridiculous sales expectations.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how much do you want to like? How much are publishers willing to bet? Like, no matter how much marketing, how much they try and push something, do they really expect like a game to be that successful, to be something like sales numbers for like Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto? I mean, some games like Tomb Raider just not every single person is going to go for it like Grand Theft Auto, or most people anyway.
I understand a lot of publishers and game companies in general want that money. Of course they do. Who wouldn't want that audience and that money that games like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto 5 produce? But if you don't have an IP that can be for those types of people, you're not gonna get that, no matter what you do. Perfect example, Capcom. Didn't they say like Resident Evil 5 was a failure, even though it sold millions of copies?
6.
Right. Sorry, I got that confused.
5, I think, actually did well for them back then.
Didn't 6 do pretty well?
Well, it really did sell millions of units, but Capcom pretty much set a ridiculously high expectations for that game because there were like over 600 people that worked on the game. It was pretty much their ace in the hole at the time, you know? That they were really counting on it to really make revenue for them. Mm-hmm. You know, that it was their big game, and there were some conflictions, unfortunately, so that kind of prevented it from being the best-selling game of all time that they wanted it to be in the first place.
Yeah. They also wanted to Street Fighter Cross Tekken to sell, but that one underperformed, according to them. I'm not sure how much it sold, but I do know for a fact that they consider that game underperforming.
I have a question about that. Because of that, does that mean Tekken Cross Street Fighter is canceled?
No, I wouldn't say so because I heard there were some it's being developed, but likewise, let's just say that I think let's say Capcom developed Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and then the other one is going to be developed by Namco. So I'm not sure how they're going to expect in terms of sales. So even with the underperformance of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I don't technically see this affecting the development of Tekken Cross Street Fighter. I mean, don't quote me on this, but even though this is being recorded, I still think that deep down that we will see a Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
I have a question. Why are they making a Tekken Cross Street Fighter if there's already a Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Different engine, using the Tekken engine instead of...
Yeah, they're using a different engine. Street Fighter Cross Tekken plays out somewhat like, Street Fighter 4, whereas this other crossover is going to play out like Tekken.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Same game, but two different engines.
Yeah, okay, but it still seems weird that they're basically making another crossover, but just making it opposite.
It kind of reminds me of back in the days when Capcom and SNK make their crossover. So first it was SNK versus Capcom, and now they just did a switcheroo with Capcom versus SNK.
Oh,
anyway,
so I guess this wouldn't be the first one.
So does this mean we can look forward to Mega Man Cross Street Fighter?
Oh god.
So is it gonna? We're gonna just So is it gonna be a fighting game?
You Mega Man. You have Mega Man, Proto Man, Base.
Gotta have Guts Man.
Guts Man. Roll. His ass. And Duo as playable characters.
And you get some Street Fighter characters to go along with that.
And
obviously
3/4 of the game's roster is Street Fighter characters.
Yeah, that's how I would.
So just be like Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
It'd be Capcom versus Marvel.
I mean, I thought of something too with this too, because this is more on the positive side of publishing. I mean, you got stuff like those Wii games for Operation Rainfall.
Oh, you mean the Last Story and
Story, Pandora's
Tower?
I mean, you gotta give
Yeah, thanks XP games.
Nintendo, wasn't it? Nintendo didn't want to publish them, so didn't Atlus publish them?
Nintendo did publish Xenoblade. The only problem is at least I think it was a GameStop exclusive or some crap.
Yeah.
Now it's really expensive.
And it's really hard to find nowadays.
As Angel Halo would attest to.
Yeah.
But the other two, were those published by Atlus, or who were they published by?
Xseed.
Xseed.
Xseed. Yeah, so they weren't even public.
Yeah, Xseed actually does publish like brings over like quite a few
Niche titles.
niche titles over here.
Most of their niche titles could be usually found on the PS2 back in the old days, and mostly on the PSP, and some on the DS.
And some.
They also recently published Killer is Dead, if I recall. City 51's latest game.
Oh yeah, that game. I want to check that out soon.
I need to play that myself, but should we try to just change the conversation from the negativity of publishers, or do you want to focus on good?
I just wanted to bring up the we don't give a fuck publishers like Crave Entertainment, who they aren't around anymore, but they basically focus on publishing low budget and import games, and that's about it. They published I didn't know they published a Blaster Master game for the PS1.
Yeah, I actually have that.
They published Eternal Ring and Evergrace.
All I remember is that they actually published the Cartoon Network fighting game.
Yeah, Punch Time Explosion. They also published the PS1 Beyblade game, which is actually really good. And if I'm just thinking PlayStation games, they published what was it? They published Fighting Force as well.
Hey, that's a beat 'em up.
The spiritual successor to Streets of Rage 4. Or to Streets of Rage, sorry.
I wish there was a 4.
It was supposed to be Streets of Rage 4, but then the developer was like, let's port this to the PlayStation. Then Sega's like, no, that's an exclusive property of ours. We're taking the rights away. And then it became its own series, but
it was only 2 games, right?
well, there was a third game, but it never got past the testing stage.
Oh, so it was canceled?
Yeah, it was canceled before they even got it off the ground.
Okay.
But yeah, Crave Entertainment's just one of those developers that will publishers that will take a game and publish it because it doesn't cost a lot of money to do so. And I thought it was interesting because they published a lot of games that I would have thought other companies would have published, but they did instead. Like that Blaster Master game you're talking about.
I do find it kind of funny when a publisher publishes a game that you wouldn't expect they would publish. Like say Ubisoft publishing the No More Heroes games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One game that Crave did publish. They published the first Tony Hawk, which is interesting because
I guess someone had to.
Because the series got so popular, they're probably like, yeah, let's not publish the rest of these.
Isn't it kind of also odd to see Ubisoft also publish the Naruto game that was first introduced on the 360, Rise of Ninja, I think it was called.
Oh yeah, Shadow Snake. Speaking of fighting games that have 4 million versions, Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 is getting a new version.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. But you do. But my point is that don't you guys find it odd that Ubisoft, guys that publish Tom Clancy games, Rayman, would publish something like a Naruto game of all things on the 360?
Ubisoft published a lot of weird games, dude.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a big company like Ubisoft, a lot of their stuff can come from just publishing just games themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, with Rockstar, I think that the funniest one to me is Earthworm Jim 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're literally just the North American publisher. That's it.
I should buy you a copy of Earthworm Jim 3D for PC.
No. I don't want a slightly better version of a game I already didn't like much anyway.
Brain.
I'd like to see you get to a boss fight and see how much you love the game then.
Boarding.
What's another publisher we can think of?
Well, there's a lot.
Hey guys, do you remember when Atari was still a company and they weren't publishing DBZ fighting games?
Yeah.
They also published the Ghostbuster video game.
Oh yeah.
And a Godzilla game on the GameCube. And I literally can't think of anything else that I've had ever published by Atari.
I remember they published the old Punisher game that I enjoyed on PS2. I think it was done by them. Oh, wait, no, I could be wrong. No, it was by GHQ. I think it was GHQ. What the fuck am I talking about?
All I can say is THQ has made sure that there will be plenty of games for me to review in the years to come.
Why? Because of Power Rangers?
Well, not just Power Rangers, but like half the games I've reviewed on my show were published by THQ.
Here's something that I wanted to confirm. Atari published Indigo Prophecy, Quantum Drink's, I think, second game.
Yeah, Indigo Prophecy or Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
This conversation kind of spiraled way out of my control. But anyone have some final thoughts about publishers, or should we just move on?
I think we should just move on because this is kind of an unorthodox topic, because when you're talking publishers, it's more like they just don't really do the same thing that everyone else. Okay, technically they do, but it's more like most publishers do it differently, and it will be here forever if we just talk about every single publisher. So yeah.
Well, I think the main point is that yes, there are some publishers that may say okay, we'll publish your game, but only if we do this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are still publishers that will at least, give certain games a shot. Whether it's bringing a game over here or just publishing just something completely different and see what happens, basically.
Yeah.
I think
I
think the main thing that people need to keep in mind with publishers is that they're not making the game.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
In most cases, they don't have a hand in the development. They usually just do it to make profit off the game, or to take an IP that otherwise wouldn't be going anywhere and give it a back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For those times when they do have a hand in making a game, it usually is something minor,
Mm-hmm.
so that they're happy, because again, they're putting up some money for this. So I think at the end of the day, we need to remember publishers could push out as much crap as they want, like Crave or whoever, but at the end of the day, it's the one who's developing the game that really is the one you need to look at, either in a positive or negative sense, whatever that may be.
All right.
Well, publishers are basically the presenters, so
It's like, here's this product that our developing partner developed.
Publishers are pretty much salesmen.
So, publishers aren't to blame except when they are.
Yeah, like that Witcher 3 thing. That was. Well, then again, isn't Well, no, I'm not gonna bring this up anymore. But I'm pretty sure everyone gets the point.
Okay, then let's just move on to viewer questions. Or question, singular. Our one question for this podcast comes from Kevin Reardon, who asks, I couldn't help but wonder where you guys draw your inspiration for your reviews.
that's a loaded question.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. I really don't know how to answer this question because mainly back in the old days, I was inspired by some people that whose names escape me, or to this day. But I guess you could say as I watch other reviews, I tend to get also a little bit more inspired. Like there's still some inspiration still to this day that I get inspired, but yet also at the same time doesn't help my procrastination. But if you're asking for specifics, you could probably just say like AVGN was one of my inspirations, even though I don't tend to curse at all that much.
I think AVGN's going to be an inspiration for pretty much any video.
Yeah. So that's just as obvious as I can make it. As far as like inspiration goes, it's probably I don't know, some actual members of the River City Gamers, to be, if that's anything surprising.
For me, initially when I created that Super Game Boy thing, that was definitely inspired by AVGN, and it was just a stupid thing that I was doing, and eventually a college friend of mine who I recently ran into at a show this week was supposed to be more involved. He actually made the music for the show and everything. So, but when I got back into doing it in 2010, I think is when I started up again. I was really watching you guys and see where you come with it, and me going like, you know what, I've gotten a lot better at editing, video making. I could probably do this again, and I'm still on a roll with it. So I'm constantly trying to improve my show too, because compared to everybody else on the site, I restarted my show pretty late, like 2010, and you guys had already been doing reviews since some of you since 2006, so some of you already had years of experience. So I've tried to up the ante as much on my show as I can, but still keeping with the original reason why I wanted to do the show in the first place. So probably have to say you guys, and then obvious stuff like Spoon, Nostalgia Critic, all those good folks.
Yeah, most of those people are obviously a given for me. I take a lot of I guess I just take bits and pieces from all these different people that I watch. In terms of just trying to be, both in terms of presenting myself as a reviewer and trying to be funny at the same time. So it goes without saying that, yeah, I do have a lot of inspiration for a lot of people, but if I mentioned all the people that inspired me, I'd be here for quite a while. But of course, you guys too inspire me, so that's just among all the other people, really. I think you can see it the most is is a few times I do a parody review, with Jontron Spooning. That's where the heaviest influences of just me just going all out and just pretty much just adapting my own style with kind of what they do, sort of thing, which can be hit or miss, but whatever.
I don't know if I have inspirations so much as just people I watched at some point. Because way back when, around the time that I started and before I started doing the videos, I'd watch people like AVGN, RMAC21, Play It Bogart, Urinating Tree. I watched some of Wiz's videos. But I don't know if I'd say I was inspired by them, because the videos were always something that I kind of wanted to do, but I just never really had the means for it. And then just one time, by pure dumb luck, I got this video camera that could plug into the back of the TV and record video game footage. And I'm like, oh, I can do this now. But I really don't know what else to say on that, other than even though I had people that I watched, I never really thought when I was making the video, how can I do this like that person? Or what would that person do? Because more than anything, I just try to do things on my own terms, do whatever I think works, for better or for worse.
Yeah, that's more or less what I do too. And the only time I ever think like that is, well, when I do a parody review. Well, 2 times I've done a parody review in that style anyway. It's like what if so and so reviewed this game, or why don't I just go all Jontron over Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, because that's what people were probably going to expect anyway.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, whenever I watch a review by somebody else, and they do that thing where words fly on the screen, the screen starts shaking around, and they go or whatever, I'm just like, that's Jontron. If I wanted to watch Jontron, I'd watch Jontron.
If I wanted to watch Jontron, I'd watch Peanut Butter Gamer. Though he's more of an awkward comedy, not a... Yeah.
Well, yeah, with a name like that. But yeah, wacky editing is one thing that I don't really do, but
Yeah,
it's there at least.
That's something I'm probably not going to try doing that much in my future reviews. I try to do just.
So it's not going to be a Clock Tower review by Angel Halo.
I mean, when it comes to me reviewing stuff, like I'll admit I've done some really, like everyone else here, I've done some reviews that I'm probably gonna forever regret. You know.
That's all my videos.
I've had a video RiverCityGamers, so really, so come on.
I'm surprised I haven't been RiverCityGamers.
I might be.
That's because the video that I got RiverCityGamers on actually had views. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is that my most successful videos in terms of views are ones that I just absolutely hate, or like some of my oldest work that I just don't like anymore.
I mean,
and for good reason are not available publicly anymore.
I might be slightly embarrassed by my old reviews, but I don't hate them. Like, or I don't regret making them because they were fun ideas at the time. So that's why.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Like,
yeah, I know, but it's just looking back. It's like, oh god,
I'm starting to.
But that's sort of like a different. We're going to.
If I had to talk about anything I regret, it would probably be certain episodes of Mega Man Abridged. Like, I recently rewatched all the episodes I did, and I was like, oh god, I don't remember doing this, sort of thing. There were one or two of them where I was just like, yeah, I would have done this completely differently now. That's really it. Like, nothing gameplay-wise I don't regret, or game review-wise either.
I'm starting to regret my...
Well, like you said, Zero, most of your stuff you've done has been more recent. So...
Anyway, I can go on. We can go on about videos that we regret.
Yeah, like I said, we're kind of trailing off into something different here with the topic.
Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, in terms of inspiration, we pretty much, for the most part, we are inspired by the obvious crowd from the guys with the glasses, Spoonie, AVGN, and even amongst ourselves. That's pretty much where we usually technically draw our inspiration, but even then, when we try to work on our own videos, I think that we all try to like do it on our own terms, like Scott puts it. You know, and just try to see if like how we're doing it works for the best.
Thank you for ending that on a slightly less depressing note.
Okay.
And if anyone else has questions that they want to have answered on the podcast, you can ask it in the comments of the upload, either on YouTube or on the RiverCityGamers page when it gets posted there. Or you can ask us on Facebook, facebook.com/RiverCityGamers. Or, hell, just send it to us in a private message on the YouTube channel. Do whatever. We don't care. We need stuff to do with this time. But for now, let's talk about video updates. And I will go ahead and go first because my update's going to be incredibly short.
Okay.
Nothing has changed. In fact, it's actually worse now because, as I mentioned at the top of the podcast, I am in the middle of midterm week. And in particular, in my one Japanese language class, I have 5 separate midterms.
Jesus.
So, guys, if I'm not on Skype very much for the rest of the week, that's why.
Okay then.
Alright then. Do you need somebody to do the next couple weeks podcast?
Probably not.
Well, you said it was for the weeks, so...
Yeah, it's just this week. But I will mention that not much is getting done on the video front, but on the music front, I did kind of finish mixing down this one song that I'm going to upload in probably the next few days, just called Soy.
Oh, I listened to that. That was actually, like, I went to go listen to the original, I'm like, yeah, you did a better job.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's based on the old Fight Kiko Man video. For those of you who were on the internet in like 2003. But that's it for me, so... Zero, what you been up to?
Well, actually, just before I came into this podcast, well, earlier in the day, in the afternoon, I recorded a Tokusatsu Corner, so that's going to be coming out soon. And then, after that was done, I had to quickly eat dinner, and then I finally got to filming most of the stuff that I need for my 2 Halloween reviews. I'm hoping to have the first one up by the end of the Canadian Thanksgiving weekend, which would be not the Monday coming up, but a week from Monday. So whenever this gets posted, it'll probably get posted on a Tuesday or whenever you get to editing it, because you're busy with school. So by the time this goes up next Wednesday or next Monday, I'm hoping to have it up. But we'll see how that goes. I still haven't recorded the audio for it, and I still have to edit everything together. So who knows? And then the other review, there's 2 of them. I'm hoping to have out by Halloween. We'll see what happens with that. Other than that, I have a lot of stuff scripted, like other projects that aren't video game related, and the next Under Oath retrospective part has been up scripted for a while, but I've held off to work on these reviews, and then there's another review that has been filmed, and everything's pretty much ready for it. I just haven't sat down to edit it yet. It should have been out a couple months ago, but didn't happen, so they're going to be coming up early after these Halloween reviews. So whenever that stuff comes out, it'll come out. I'm hoping to have some stuff up within the next week or 2, so we'll see how that happens.
Alright then. How about you, Blondie?
Okay, well, since I've been more frequent on the podcast lately, I haven't made a lot of progress in my videos lately. Although I am working on a bite-sized review that should be out sometime soon. Just something to throw out there. I already got the footage I need for it. I just need to throw it together. As for my other stuff, I still need to work out a few kinks with my computer and recording equipment. So hopefully I'll get that sorted out, and then I can start recording footage for my next review, which, like I said last time, will be a new They Made a Sequel. That's about it, really. I mean, I should note that I've actually been pretty busy lately with work, so don't really expect a whole lot this month, because I'll be busy with that. But, at least I'll throw out a little bite-sized review out there, and hopefully I'll get at least my other projects going with that. So that should be it.
And Shadow.
God, I feel like a broken record when I say this, but I've been going through a cycle of procrastination for months now, and the fact that I've been attending classes at a university is not helping. But I don't know, maybe I'll try to work on this review that I've had this script on, but I also need to, I'm also thinking about doing a severe edit on. I think I already said it before, so just rewatch a couple podcasts just to know what it is. Since we're in the month of Halloween, maybe I'll try. I can't guarantee this, but maybe I'll try to do something quick. I have a couple of ideas of what games I would like to talk about in Halloween, but I guess I might as well reveal it. But I wanted to ask you guys: do you think if this game would work for a Halloween video, The Last of Us? Do you think it would work?
I don't know. I don't know anything.
I agree. I don't know.
Alright, well, because let's just say that's actually one of my most favorite games of this year, so I figured maybe it might be a good time to, do a video on it on Halloween, since it's kind of has some feel of horror to it, but not too much.
Try and make it spoiler free, because I haven't got that game yet.
Yeah, I'll probably just, it's not going to be, in depth, like 20 or 30 minutes, okay?
I know, I'm just sort of joking.
So don't worry, no spoilers.
Yeah, I still need to get that game.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, part of me wants to do, just because of this, as I mentioned before, how I bought this game that just makes me feel like it's like guilty pleasure. It's like, you know what, since I bought the game, maybe someday I should, give my thoughts out on this first of a first Hatsune Miku Project Eva half, and see if, tell people, how is it, is it good, is it worth a damn, or something like that. But we'll see. But right now I want to focus on my classes, and if I get any motivation and free time, then I'll maybe work on some videos, but we'll see. And that's it.
And with that, we have arrived at the end of the podcast. I'm SCXCR.
Yeah, I'm not spelling out every letter of my name. I'm Blondeguygamer.
I am Shadow Snake, and I'm not doing that either.
I'm Zeromaster.
And I have a midterm in, hold on, let me do the math, less than 24 hours.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Say something in Japanese to end the podcast.
Yeah.
On the ground, I ain't messing around. My city, my rules, my money, my town. No pimpin', I ain't playing. In a minute, you gonna be laying. On the ground, I ain't messing around. My city, my rules, my money, my town. Rim tilted, cold coated, fresh to death. Literally, I do kill it. Blood stirred in this game of death. Yeah, you hear the